Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and today we have yoga. This is a full body class. I have no idea how long it's going to take, but it is a full class, so expect 30 to 40 minutes I would assume. Not like most of my shorter content. So we have a warm up, we have a flow, and we cool down. That's all I gotta say about it. A little bit of strength, a little bit of flexibility, some balance. Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into it. Starting in child's pose at the back of your mat. So big toes together, knees as wide as comfortable, together to your shoulders, out to the sides of the mat. Walk your palms forward and melt your sweetheart down. Take a big breath in, feeling the belly expanding against the thighs, and breathe it out your mouth. Right here today. Setting our intention, questioning ourselves, what are we looking to accomplish here in these moments together? Coming forward up to tabletop now. Palms directly below the shoulders, knees directly below the hips. And just warming up with a cat and cow. So dropping the belly, lifting the chin, chest forward, curling the tailbone up, feeling a back bend. Breathe in, breathe out. Now broadening across the shoulder blades, tucking the tailbone in, chin to chest. A couple rounds at your own pace here. Breathing in, looking forward. Breathing out, rounding through. Last round here, breathe in. And exhale. So back to tabletop here. And extend the right foot back and just kind of dig your toes into the ground beneath you and feeling a stretch along our calf or pushing back into that right heel. Just warming up here and flatten out through the lower back. So really feel your navel, your abdominal wall hug in here. We're not curling the tailbone, keeping a flat back, engaging into the muscles to lift that right leg up behind us. Squeezing through the glutes, like I said, keeping that back straight. Gonna kind of rotate your knee, your foot downward, internally rotating through our right hip here. Keeping it all straight, and if you want to take a step further, reaching the left hand bicep along the ear. So feeling the right leg kick back behind you as you're reaching out with your left hand, still keeping that back straight here. Strong through the back muscles and the abdominal wall, working our entire core here, looking straight down beneath you. Can inhale to reach and exhale, hug it in, knee to elbow, rounding through. Inhale to reach, exhale, hug it in. Inhale, exhale, breathe in. Reach and breathe out. Round, doming through the shoulder blades. Now, on your next inhale, reaching through, this time, kick that back leg up. You can point or flex the feet and reach the left arm around you, finding a bind here, and kicking into your left palm. Kicking the right foot into the left palm, feeling a nice stretch along the left shoulder, into the back, finding our tiger pose here. Breathe in and exhale. Now, setting it back to the mat may feel good here. Just take a quick cat just to round through the spine. Back to table, second side. So first, reaching that left foot back, curling those left toes underneath you, finding a nice calf stretch here. You can rock it a little. On your breath in, flattening out through the back, squeeze it in, squeezing into the left glute. Now to lift that left leg up, making sure that you're turning your knee down, pointing your toes down towards the floor to keep the hips straight. And you can add on by reaching the left or the right hand forward, right bicep along the ear. Balancing table here, very strong through the core. Inhale to reach it. Exhale, round it in. Inhale and exhale. A couple here. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round through. Last one. As you reach forward, now bending into that left leg, reaching the right arm around, grabbing onto that foot if you can reach, kicking into that palm as you're pulling it back, finding a back bend, full body stretch here. And exhale, set it down, round through the spine. And walk the knees just a couple inches behind your hips. Walk the hands forward, keeping the palms lifted and just the fingertips on the mat here. And just going into our puppy pose, but a little bit of a different stretch with our hands active here. Reaching the chest down to the mat, trying to get the forehead to touch. If your forehead touches easily, then you can work to bring your chin to the mat. So we're activating into the shoulders a little differently here with our hands up like this. You can just slowly drag it back to child's. Take a breath here. Coming up forward now, curling the toes under and just lift up to plank. So really activating the core here, making sure our hips aligned with our shoulders so we're not dropping too low, not reaching too high. One long line. Turning over onto the left palm here, rocking our ankles over to the left side, finding your side plank. Activating through the core. Go ahead back to center. Option to take a little chaturanga, so lowering halfway, pushing all the way back up to plank, and then take it to the right side. Deep breaths here. Let it shake. Circle the left palm back to the mat. Hug here in plank just for a second more, and then send the hips up and back to down dog. So paddle out through the feet, opening to the backs of the legs here. Invite a lot of movement in and wherever you can find it. Breath in, you're going to walk your palms back to your feet at the back of the mat, dragging them up the shins to find a halfway lift. Breathe in and breathe out on your forward fold at the back of your space. Generous bend in through the knees here to make sure you're folding from the hips and not the lower back. You can rock back onto your heels to bring it all the way up slowly and gently. Circle the hands up and overhead. Big breath in here and exhale all the way back down to your fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, walk it back forward into your plank pose. Inhale here and lower all the way down to the mat. So untucking the toes, hands come off of the mat here. We're going to take 5 baby cobras here without our hands touching the mat. So just using the strength of our back. So going to breathe in, chest, head, hands all come up, looking forward. Breathe out. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, back down. Breathing in, can you lift a little higher this time? Just using the strength of your back. Exhale back down. Breathing in this time, and once you reach your way up, find yourself staying here, taking the arms back behind us, and then taking a step forward, we can engage into our glutes and our quad muscles here to lift our legs up, maybe finding a little bit more height, taking our locust pose. So, very good pose for really strengthening the back here. All of the core muscles, really. And a little into our glutes. Breathe in, breathe out. Back to your mat, taking our arm into a 90 degree angle, so the elbow directly aligned with the shoulder. We're just going to roll it over onto our right side, our right hip. My right ear is touching the mat. Finding our broken wing pose, a nice opening to the front of the shoulder, especially after all those planks. If you'd like to make it a little more intense, you can lift the top leg and just step it back behind you. Breathing here. Tuning into your body. Generating this warmth. And exhale back to center, taking to the left side, so left elbow and line directly with the left shoulder in a 90 degree angle. Spinning over onto our left hip, left ear on the mat. And if you did it the first time, you can lift the left leg, step it behind you. Just make it a little more of an intense stretch. Roll it back to center, coming up into just tabletop. And we're going to stretch our shoulders in the opposite way now. So taking the left hand all the way up to the ceiling, opening through the chest, and then threading it through the right arm. Taking the shoulder to the mat, pushing evenly into our hips. So it can be very easy just to dump all of our weight into the right hip here. So really make an effort to push into that left hip, straighten out the spine. Just twisting our upper body here. On the end of your next exhale, push it back up. Just go right into the second side. So peeling the chest open with that right hand reaching up. And thread through on your exhale. Taking the right shoulder down now, right ear to the mat. Not dumping all of our weight into the left hip, pushing into the right hip evenly. Pushing into the left palm, bringing the right hand back to the mat. From here, just take the hands a couple inches past the shoulders, tucking the toes under, and just send the hips up and back to your down dog. Paddling out through the feet here, taking the right leg up and back to your three-legged dog. Inhale. And exhale, stepping in between the palms, ankle directly below the knee, spinning the back foot to the short edge of the mat, cartwheeling the arms forward to your warrior two. On your inhale, now straighten through that front leg. Take the right fingertips as far forward till you can't reach anymore, and then drop it all the way down. Finding our triangle pose. So our chest is broad, we're not collapsing in on ourselves. On your exhale, you can now bend through that front leg once more, taking the left bicep along the ear, finding your side angle. taking the palms in prayer in front of the chest, twisting it forward, taking the back heel up off the mat and the left elbow to the right knee, now to the other side, finding a twisted lunge. You want to take a step further, you can straighten out through the arms, taking the left hand to the mat if it can reach, looking up towards the right fingertips. You also can place a block under the left hand here, that's super helpful. Big breath in, and on your exhale, now try to straighten through that front leg, maybe even planting the back heel behind us. If not, that's okay. Working to straighten that front leg to our revolve triangle. Circling the top hand back and around, and just step it back into your plank pose. Breathe in here, and exhale, lower your push-up. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, roll over the toes, send the hips back and up, down dog. Take a breath here before going into our second side. Stabilizing in this grounding position. All right, here we go. Lifting the left leg up and back, pointing or flexing through the toes. Three-legged dog, and stepping it forward in between the palms, making sure that knee is directly above the ankle, spinning that back heel down, grounding through. Cartwheel the arms up and back, warrior two. So you can make sure that your front leg is perfectly aligned. If you can look and see that your big toe is shining, smiling, and saying hi to you. If not, your knee is a little bit too far past the ankle. Breath in. Exhale, straighten through that front leg. Now reaching forward with the left fingertips until you can't reach anymore, and drop it down, triangle pose. So making sure that we're not collapsing through the chest for the point to touch the floor. Touching the floor is not what's important here. You want our chest to be open, our shoulders long. On your exhale, you can start to bend through that front leg again. You can rest the elbow on the front thigh here. Sending the right arm, bicep along the ear, taking our side angle pose. Very strong position here. Making sure you're grounding into that back heel, keeping that back leg engaged so we're not dumping into the front knee. Now bringing the palms to heart center in prayer, twisting forward, bringing that back heel up to your high lunge, taking the right elbow to the left knee, now to the twisting to the other side. If you did on the first side, you can work to extend the arms, bringing the right fingertips down to the mat, left fingertips up, looking up to the sky. On your next inhale, now you can work to straighten. You might bring your back toes in a little bit here, working to straighten that front leg to a revolve triangle. Pushing the left hip back as you're pulling the right hip forward, trying to square off the hips. And circle that top arm down to meet the mat, step it back, and take your flow. Lower the chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, finding your back bend. Exhale, roll over the toes, down dog. All right, here. Going to lift the right leg up again, three-legged dog, and step it forward now to your high lunge. So like before, our knee is directly above that ankle, coming up. So keeping the tailbone tucked, Floating ribs in, making sure that we're engaged through our core. Sending our arms over and back, so we're facing backside mat, tilting your chest forward, really grounding into that front foot, and step up to a balance, keeping that right knee bent. Call this our swan pose. This is a little too tricky. You can straighten through the right leg and just take a warrior 3. And you can work to bend that knee further. A couple breaths here. Standing balance, really tricky pose here. And step that left leg forward, coming up onto the toes. Heels go up, dropping the hips down and low, keeping that tailbone tucked. Finding a high chair here. So we're off of our heels and we're just balancing on the balls of our feet. And exhale, drop the heels. Now find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting the palms, step or hop back to chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, down dog. Breathing in now, lifting the left leg up and back, taking our second side, so stepping forward, coming up, high lunge. Whew. I'm getting hot. I'm getting sweaty. Well, why? Because we're working. Taking the arms back behind us, tilting the chest forward, engaging through the glutes here. Really plant through that left leg, keeping that left leg bent. If you can, stepping forward into your standing balance. You can straighten through that front leg as much as you may need to and work on bending later. Let yourself wobble, and as you're getting stronger, deep breaths, and try to focus your gaze on something that is not moving. One more breath. And step it forward, back up onto the balls of our feet, setting the hips back down, keeping the tailbone tucked so we're not dumping into the low back. Heels are high off the mat. And exhale, fold it forward. Inhale up to half lift. We're taking our flow, planting the palms, meet your way to chaturanga, up dog or cobra. And exhale, we all meet back in down dog. And this time, just send the right knee to the left, not the left, but tending the right knee to the right thumb, dropping the left leg back behind you. You can square off the hips as taking the shin as parallel to the front edge of the mat as is comfortable. The more straight your shin is here, the more intense of an opening this will be into the hips. Breathe in to feel yourself lifting out of your lower back. And then exhale, walk it forward, either to your forearms or melting your heart all the way down into your pigeon pose. Taking 5 deep, long breaths here. On your next exhale, start to push into the palms, coming up. And just lean over onto your right glute to send the left leg in front of you. And that's how we're just going to transition to our second side. So taking the left shin, in front, swing that right leg back. You can kind of push in your palms to lift your hips up here, even it out, squaring off the hips. So this front leg can be as far forward or as tucked in and as comfortable to you. Again, your choice. So once you're situated, feel yourself lifting out of your low back. And then exhale, walking it forward. Wonderful hip opening pose and a little bit into the hamstrings as well. And start to slow it down, slowing down our heart rate, slowing down our breaths. And your exhale, pushing into the palms to come forward. Back onto that left glute to swing the right leg forward. You can plant the feet in front of you, taking the arms forward, kind of curling into our tailbone to slowly lower our spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down to the mat. Seeing how slowly you can move yourself, engaging through the abs. Finally, your shoulders reach all the way down. So tucking the shoulder blades underneath us, bringing the feet in as close as we can. And just pushing, digging your heels into the mat and push the hips up and forward, squeezing to the glutes, lifting your lower back off the mat, finding a bridge pose. Last little bit of strength here, grounding into the left heel to point through the right leg, right foot, a one-legged bridge. Ground that right leg back down, taking the right heel, digging into the mat. Hips are still high up. Reaching the left leg now, pointing to the left toes. And set it back down. One last little squeeze here in bridge. And lower it. Lower the lower back and the hips all the way down. Taking the right knee on top of the left, picking up the hips to take them over to the right side, bringing the arms out into a cactus shape to ground through the shoulders, and just drop the knees over to the left side, finding a nice twist through the spine. Coming back up to center, and before we go to the second side, just kick your legs up and reach for the outer edges of both feet, pulling them down and away from each other, stretching into the outer hips and the outer glute muscles here, seeing how close you can bring your knees into your chest while you're trying to pull your feet away from each other. And exhale, let it go. Crossing the left knee now over the right, picking the hips up to the left side of the mat, planting the arms down in a cactus shape and dropping the knees over to the right. Looking over the left shoulder now, twisting out the spine, slowing it down, finding a bit of a meditative state here. Bringing it back up and coming into that shoelace, cow face pose, whatever you may call it. Kicking the legs up, grabbing onto the opposite feet here. Bringing the knees in closer to the chest, pulling the feet away from each other. Maybe find gentle rock side to side. And let it go and cross the legs. So two options here. You can either bring the soles of the feet together and dropping the knees open and away from each other to your reclined butterfly. And if this is where you would like to stay, we will meet you here For those who would like to take our plow pose, we're going to send our feet up, up and back overhead, lifting the hips up, taking the feet behind our heads here. My pants are in my face. And clasping the hands behind the back to our plow pose, so we can either point the feet, tucking the toes under, whichever is comfortable. Releasing along the lower back here. Gentle inversion. And for those who are up here, begin to lower your spine back down slowly, really engaging through the core to resist a slingshot effect as you slowly lower the back all the way down. And like before, taking the soles of the feet together, dropping the knees open and away from each other, taking a reclined butterfly. You can leave your hands on the inner thighs here to invite a little bit more of an opening into the hips, or you can bring them up and overhead to open through the chest here. When you're ready, you can begin to straighten out through the legs, taking up as much space. The arms by your side. Again, to drift off into our Savasana. Taking a moment here to check in with our body. How do you feel now compared to when you first stepped on your mat today? Any differences? Tuning in with the emotional world. And the words that you're speaking to yourself with, are they kind words? Are they harsh and abrasive? And releasing through the ankles and the wrists, allowing ourselves to drop this tension from our body, releasing the jaw and through the eyebrows. Feeling the weight of the earth beneath you supporting you. The ground is reliable and she's always there for us to catch us when we fall and support us as we push ourselves back up. Taking time to appreciate the world around you. Give thanks to yourself. Of course, everyone decides to drive by my fucking house right now. When you're ready, breathe some life back in. Feeling your chest raise with the inhale and fall on your exhale. Begin to wiggle through the fingertips and the toes, rolling out the ankles and the wrists, just waking the body back up slowly and mindfully. Stretch the arms up and overhead like you're waking up first thing in the morning. And this is where I leave you here today. So bringing the hands in prayer, thumbs to our forehead and between the eyebrows, our third eye. Love and light me sees and honors that love and light you. For that we say, namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today, my friends. I sure hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, something, I don't care, and subscribe for more content. And until then, thank you so much.